Hey, Undateable friends, this is Bobby Shanks, author of the book, Undateable. And today we are going to talk about a pretty good topic, a very relevant topic specifically about this book. And let me just I'm just going to introduce it really quick. So the book got shipped off for publishing, which is to say a mountain of editing. And my publisher, Dominic Damaski, who is going to be watching this right now, so I'll be calling you out, buddy. He said, we need a final chapter that really impacts the purpose of the book. And I was thinking for some time, about a week, how to surmise this book, and here's what I broke it down to. There are so many people that are worthy, or they feel that they're worthy of dating, but are they willing? And that's going to be our hot topic today. It's probably going to be kind of a calm, cool, collected sort of vibe today. It's just going to be me and N Brown, the producer. And so stay tuned for that. That's coming right up. And before we get started with anything else, we're going to go with requested or rejected.
All right. Topic number 1, Crocs.
You mean like the shoes?
Yeah, the little duck shoes.
I actually have a story about Crocs. So I own a pair. I wear them to the river, anytime I'm doing the water thing. So my personal trainer, who's Randy Althage with the Strength Barracks in Crystal City, I wore Crocs to the gym one day, and and you got to know Randy because he's like this monster gorilla man with a beard and tattoos, and he's beyond intimidating. He's a super cool guy.
Okay, we're just gonna use the word badass.
Yeah,
he's just that. That is what he is.
He's a badass. That's to say the least. So he walks up to me, and he's like, "You know why there's holes in Crocs, right?" Now he's a hardcore veteran.
Yeah,
like multiple tours, Afghanistan, desert, name your operation, whatever. And he's like, "You know why there's holes in Crocs, right?" And I think he's like going to be all serious. And I'm like, "No, why?" He's like, "That's where all your dignity weeps out."
Okay, that's
basically saying that if you're a dude and you wear Crocs, you're a giant wussy.
Yeah.
So
interesting.
I guess I'm going to go with rejected.
So Crocs have made a comeback with the younger population. So when I think of
Crocs, but I'm a rejected.
But when I think of Crocs, I think of that. But I want to take this into a slightly different realm. I am extremely attracted to comfy attire. I love when someone can put on a pair of Crocs, some sweatpants, messy bun, and still look good. And like I prefer the.
I'm down with that.
I prefer the comfy version of someone, like the real version.
Yeah.
Over the dressed up person. That's my personal opinion.
I like them both.
So it's accepted or requested. Sorry, it's requested based on that criteria. It is rejected based on the fact that they're the ugliest shoe ever.
They are pretty
created.
ugly.
But you have to admit they're kind of comfy.
Yeah. All right. So there you go. Next topic.
Bathroom selfies.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm definitely going to weigh in on this one. So since starting this podcast, announcing the book, whatever, I have helped, I'm going to say around a dozen people write their dating profile. if
heard.
you,
So I've heard.
Yeah, exactly. And if your dating profile includes a selfie of you in a bathroom, like specifically like a gym bathroom or your own bathroom, that is a giant abort mission. It's a no. Do not do it. I am, Supreme Court Justice slamming the gavel, rejected.
Okay.
Do not pass go, life in prison.
99.9% of the time, I'm agreeing with you. But I do think it's hilarious if you can get creative with it.
Okay.
Like if you can take
Well, anything that's creative is
if you can take it to the next level, like you can take it beyond the boring stand there with your phone bathroom selfie. If you can
give me an example.
I can't, but I know.
Well, then let's make one up.
Well,
let's make one up. Let's do it right now. We'll make one up. So if I saw a girl on a dating app, gym selfie, and she was I don't know, had toilet paper on her tennis shoe, or I'm gonna get massacred for this, but was using toilet paper to stuff her sports bra, or had like uneven pigtails or something, like it was intentionally funny, then that would be okay.
Or like even just like standing on top of the countertop and then taking a photo. I don't know, like doing something where it's satirical and not legitimate. I can
like
get down with that.
Intentionally, right? Satirical, intentionally mockery, mocking the bathroom selfie. I would do a requested on that, but it's not reality. It doesn't happen.
So this is a topic in my own life, so I thought it was funny. Snoring.
Are you a snorer?
Yeah.
Okay, give me a demonstration. I want to know what type of snorer you are. There's different types of snoring.
I don't know. So until November of last year, I had no idea that I was a snorer.
Okay.
And apparently it causes issues for the other person.
Oh, sure. Yeah. No doubt.
So anyways, long story short, I downloaded an app that like listens. You set it on, like you put your phone and you just set it on the counter or table right by you.
Right, the nightstand or whatever.
And it tracks your snoring. It tracks your sleep. And
my gosh. Okay, you have to tell me what this app is. I'll download it, see if I do it.
There's like 50 out there, but you can pick your favorite.
I had no idea.
Long story short, it proved to me that I snored because I had no idea until I downloaded that app. I don't hear myself snore at night, but I understand now how it can be a little bit annoying for the other person.
Yeah.
Sorry, Courtney.
Yeah. So you're rejected?
I mean, listen, it wouldn't bother me personally. Like, I can sleep through a car crash.
Mm-hmm.
But I understand how other people, it might not be their favorite thing to be around.
Mm-hmm. So for me, and I'm going to be very generous here. There's snoring. So I grew up in a construction family. And so, which is to say, whenever, like as early as the age of 12, I lived in campers at different job sites around the Midwest with my dad. And we would have construction people. We had 2 or 3 different campers. Construction people would sleep in the campers, and they would snore so hard, like you could feel the whole camper shaking.
Yeah.
That is a rejected. Now, if you've got your favorite person, snuggled up against you, and it's more like a purr. then that would be a requested.
Yeah, I feel like I'm probably one of the construction workers.
Yeah, probably so.
But
okay, next one.
So last topic, and this is one that annoys the absolute crap out of me. But have you ever seen on Facebook those anniversary posting a couple selfies of you and your significant other, telling them how much and writing a 3-paragraph thing? Since you came into my life, it's been amazing. And and I love you and blah, blah, blah. Saying that in person for me, 100%.
Yeah, requested. Mm-hmm.
Only doing it for social media or doing it on social media, please God, no. I think that's that personal opinion.
Yeah.
Requested or rejected.
So, once upon a day when I was married, I was that guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I was also very verbal and action oriented. And so I didn't just do it for, community display on social media, but I did it in person too. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to go with properly rated. I'm in the middle. So if you're a guy, and I'm actually going to pick on men here, to be honest. If you're a dude and you do it as a PDA, but that's all you do, well, then to me, that's
a rejected.
Yeah, that's yucky. But if you do it as a man or a woman, and that is also followed with the other things that come with non-social media, whether it's a date night, to recognize the occasion, et cetera, whatever your version is, then I'm 100% on board. Requested.
I guess I think that if you feel the need to post it on social media at all, I think you're already in the wrong mindset. Because at that point, I believe you are doing it for the social media, for the attention, so that everyone else knows who you love, and about your relationship, and you're not doing it because I think relationships should be personal. They should be what happens between the two of you should stay there. And I'm not gonna lie, I've done it before, but I started to regret it, and I started to look back on it as, you know what, I made that post for social media. I didn't make that post for someone else. Yeah. And that's where I draw the line. Is who is it for? And I don't think it. So let's break it down. Ever be not for social media.
If I go on social media and I post about my significant other one picture, and I say, "Hey, today is my and my significant other's blank anniversary. I love you, babe." Mm-hmm. And that's it. I think that's cool. Now, if you do a whole, carousel of pictures,
50 photos,
and 3 paragraphs. Now, on the other hand, if it's a 10-year anniversary, a 5-year, 40-year, well, okay, maybe.
Mm-hmm. I think so. If let's say you went out on a date for your 10th wedding anniversary, and you went to a winery, you snapped a picture together, and you posted it and said, "Hey, celebrating our."
I think that's cool.
That's great.
That's totally
My
cool.
point is the relationships you can tell are still young. The relationships that you can tell aren't at that point.
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
You can tell that they're not at the point of it's just us. No more of this fake crap on social media. It's me and you.
Now, if the couple is on a beautiful cliff in the Grand Canyon and they have their pants pulled down, mooning, and they say happy 20th anniversary,
Yeah.
that I'm on board with.
So, I mean, that's a similar example. Like you're out doing something together.
If you're in action,
and
but if you're sitting on the toilet at work, posting about your 20-year anniversary.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, we're on the same page. Properly rated.
I'm a rejected. Almost totally. In the context
Well, now I want to be rejected.
It's a rejected almost totally based on the criteria that we put out.
Criteria based. I like that.
Because we created two different situations. One is we're out on a date and we're snapping a picture, because we're celebrating and I want my mom to see that, or we have a bunch of friends and who we went to college with, and so we want them to see it, just as like a fun thing. Yeah, great. But if you're posting 40 pictures, like you said, and then writing 3 paragraphs about your love and just write that on a piece of paper, fold it up and give that to her.
Yeah. Oh, totally agree.
Instead of put that on
totally
Facebook.
Agree.
Like if you're pouring your heart out to someone and then tagging them in that, just get a piece of printer paper, fold it in half, write I love you on the front, and then write a little note on the inside and hand it to her.
You're going to make me cry. Yeah.
Something like that. It's just that's where I get a little annoyed.
Agreed. Totally agree. All right, so let's get started on our main topic today, and I think this is really going to be our only topic. I want to talk about being willing versus worthy. So I made this little video earlier this week, and this is related to the final chapter of my book, and which I'll correct something that I did earlier in the earlier video. It's not chapter 17, it's chapter 18. Of course, that's all going to be subject to revision. The first chapter of my book is about being available. Are you available for dating? And here's the thing. It's kind of a dual purpose. One is, are you physically, like your time, geographically, your location, are you available to date? The second thing is, are you right here? Are you available to date? And it was very intense. I wrote this book in reverse. I wanted the most heavy meat and potato stuff to be right up front. And I felt like literally number one, before you can check any other box, the number one thing is, are you available? Are you available inside and outside to date someone? And so that's chapter number 1. And a lot of chapters after that. Finally now, chapter 18, willing versus worthy. So I'm going to ask you to weigh in on this. To me, there's a lot of people who are willing to date that aren't worthy. And there's a lot of really good people who are worthy of dating, but they're not willing. Oh. It's almost like this Grand Canyon. There's this giant, just this wide and just deep chasm that separates these two thoughts, these two people. And that's what this last chapter deals with. So my question to you is, what is the difference between being worthy to date and being willing to date?
Well, I would graph it, if you can imagine like a little graph.
Oh, I love graphs.
Vertical line, horizontal line. We're looking for the equilibrium. We're looking for the center where the two axes meet.
The X and the Y. Mm-hmm.
And basically, you could just draw like an X on the graph. So X-axis, Y-axis, draw an X in the middle of that graph.
Yep.
in the top right-hand quadrant, if you're you math people out there, draw a little X.
Or econ majors, yep.
And draw a circle around the middle. That's what we're looking for.
Right.
We're looking for a person who is worthy of dating and also willing.
You know, this also references the Hot Crazy Matrix, right?
Yeah. But
sorry, I just had to go there.
In my mind, everything can be graphed. So
mine too.
So, for example, someone might be a very high willing and a very low
worthy,
which is what you just talked about.
Yep.
Now, where dating kind of works is in that center, probably box around like the middle. So like you are a higher worthy and a little bit low on the willing, but they offset each other just slightly.
Yeah.
But in that center is where it works. On the outsides of the graph, it doesn't work. And that's kind of where my head goes. So to answer your question, actually, the difference is all in a mindset. There is a mindset and a reality, and there's a difference between what's in your head versus the reality of that everyone else sees. So whatever everyone else sees, it is more in the worthy category, and the willing category is a lot more of what you see.
Yeah. So I brought a prop today.
Okay.
Here it is. I don't know if the camera can see this or not, but what this says is it's like a quote. I am convinced that different people awaken different beasts in you. And
Michael Scott said that for all you office people out there.
Yes. I love that you know that. I love that. High five. So what that means is you can be worthy. And we may, okay, let's pause for a second. What does worthy mean? You could be worthy by your definition because you are tall, or you're handsome or pretty, or you have long hair or maybe short hair, or you look good in heels.
You have a great education.
You have a great education. You have a great job.
You're funny.
You're 40 years old and can retire at 50, right? Because you're so financially diligent, or whatever you see for you as your worthiness.
And it's usually a combination of 10 of those.
Yeah, items, and it's usually not just one thing. But worthiness is something that you as an individual feel makes you attractive, makes you desirable. There you go.
Well,
not attractive, desirable.
To take us back to high school, I am part of the popular group and I play football, so I am attractive.
Worthy. Yeah.
Or
desirable.
So I'm desirable.
Yeah, I like that word, desirable. Now, oh boy, my head's spinning. So willing is your ability and inability, right? The yin and the yang, two sides of every coin. But willing is when, regardless of what you think makes you worthy, and assuming that it is actually indeed true, right? We'll give people that benefit of the doubt. And when the right beast enters your world, the right person who brings that special person in you out, are you willing to adapt? So here's the deal, man. And I should have a mirror here instead of a camera, because this is actually really hard for me to talk about, because out of everything we've done and everything I've written, like this is like the single grain of sand dropping through the hourglass right here for me. Uncomfortably. Where I feel the most personally convicted. I can name several things that I feel like make me a worthy companion. And the question is, when the right person enters my world, am I willing to adapt to them? Because no matter how phenomenal you think you are, you're not perfect.
No, nobody is.
You're not perfect. And so listen, I've talked to dozens of people over lunch, over the phone, Zoom, video, whatever, where they feel worthy. Everybody feels worthy in their own mind. Well, if the whole dating pool is full of worthy people, then why is our divorce rate so high? Why are adult singles perpetually single? Because to your point, right, that graph, right, that equilibrium, that X where the X and the Y meet, people aren't willing to adapt. And the word that you said earlier, compromise.
Compromise.
Because that requires work.
Yeah. Dating is not a job, but it is work. You know, you have to, it requires effort, and if you're not willing to put in the effort, then you're not also worthy of dating.
Yeah.
Because
so true.
Because if I wasn't willing to put in the effort to continue to work on a relationship, then I'm not worthy of someone else putting in work on their end.
Yeah. So,
which, by the way, also, so we have one graph for one person. We also have to equal and match that up with another graph of another person.
Right. So you have two of them,
and they have to overlap each other.
And you got to overlap them.
Yeah. And if they don't match up, they don't match up.
Yeah.
And depending on time of your life that you met, based on prior relationships, circumstances, and all the our last episode where we sat down here, all of your your must-haves. What do we call it?
The top 10 non-negotiable must-have.
That's right. The word I was looking for. So we have to overlap all of that, and then so you can understand why the success rate is low, but the success rate is so low because people aren't willing.
They're not willing
to, as you say, adjust, adapt, and I think we need to talk about the word compromise, because that leaves a really salty taste in people's mouths.
True that.
Because compromise implies that you're taking less in order to give. You know, it's there.
It does imply that, doesn't it?
It implies a negative to one person and then giving a positive to another.
Yeah.
And I don't believe compromise is required in relationships. I do think that adaptation is.
I like that word better. That's why I chose that word.
Because if you're compromising, get out. If you're compromising,
if the relationship is nothing but compromise,
get out. Because at that point, you're no longer being true to yourself, and your worthiness is no longer being fulfilled.
So I'm going to share a personal anecdote. In the last 12 months, I have been on approximately Ooh, I can't believe I'm going to talk about this. It feels dirty. In the last 12 months, I have been on approximately 50 dates. 50 first dates.
Did she forget in the morning, and then you have to play her a videotape, and then eventually you ended up on a boat? It's a great documentary.
Not quite like that.
Was that documentary about you?
No. No. You talking about 50 First Dates?
Yeah.
Yeah, with Drew Barrymore and Adam Sandler.
Do you get the documentary joke?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. I didn't make sure. Some people,
Yeah.
It's just for all you out there, it's kind of funny when you call like a movie that's like obviously completely BS, just call it a documentary and see how people react. Yeah. They might be like, that was a movie.
It was a good movie.
But they'll get angry at you and be like, that was a movie. And you're like, no, that was a documentary on some really incredible stuff. And you're like, and it kind of ticks them off.
Yeah.
But I think that's kind of funny.
So I actually have been on 50 first dates in 12 months. And where I'm going with this is I want to bring it around to the numbers. Because I'm a numbers guy. Now, that kind of sounds a little cold, like I'm trying to mathematically compute my dates or something. That's not true at all. But for the purposes of this conversation, it works.
But I think I need to back you up on this one real quick. So
please, I need help.
Looking at patterns is something everyone out there should be doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you are going on date after date after date and they're all not working because they're all the same looking, they look the same, they act the same, all this whatever. If you notice a pattern, you obviously need to change. So you coming up with data is just a way of you looking at patterns. It's not a way of you crunching the numbers on a spreadsheet at home.
Listen,
to math, like you said.
I'm not cerebral when I'm on a date.
Yeah.
I'm a normal, everyday Midwestern dude. I dress like this. But after the date, and more specifically when I know that there won't be a second, that's when, this side of my brain, right, the fun, flirty, the fun Bobby shuts down and the spreadsheet comes out.
The analytical.
Right, the analytical.
You analyze what just happened.
So out of 50 first dates, 5 went past a first date. And here's where I'm going with this. Recent. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because in the last, 2 or 3 episodes that we've shot, I have alluded to that I was dating or trying to date a specific person. And that has ended after 4 dates. Sadly. Yeah. And it's okay. But I can tell you,
I have tissues if you need them.
I'm trying not to grab the tissues.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm going to tell you, it's sad because this gal was she was life partner material. Seriously. And and here's what it boils down to. She was incredibly worthy of my time. I believe that I was worthy of her time, but I can only speak for me. She was very worthy of my time. The willingness between the two of us to find to adapt. It didn't happen.
So I guess one thing
I'm actually pretty sad about it. I'm not going to lie.
An important note. So age is a huge factor in this. When you get
in
to
this
a certain
particular
age,
case, I believe that age did play a role.
When you get to a certain age, you get to a point where you're less willing to adapt. And it's not because Okay, I have to explain myself.
Yeah.
It's not.
I'm not going to disagree with you, but I have some thoughts on that.
It's not because you are any different than the person who was younger than you. It's that you tend to have gotten to a spot in your life that you are unwilling to let go of. Whereas when you're younger and you are growing and changing a lot more, there's a lot more change that I believe happens in a life from 16 to 30 than happens from 35 to 55.
I don't disagree.
So you're willing to adapt a lot more at a younger age and grow with someone because you're
very correct.
Adapting throughout the situation.
Yep. Totally.
And you're almost becoming the version of that the other person and you can agree on and works as a compatible way. When you get to a older age, you've dated around, you have, some people have marriages.
Well, don't make it sound slutty.
Well, no, but some people have marriages under their belt. They have kids. They have all this. You're at a point in your life where you're like, I earned everything. I am who I am. And to adapt to someone else is almost like, holy crap, get out of there.
So we, on that note, we had a guest that popped by our little studio thing here earlier, unexpected. Okay, I'm just going to say it was my ex-wife,
The mother of your children.
The mother of my children. Yep. And we're good friends and we're friendly, and she popped by and actually she happened to be walking by. She didn't pop by. She was walking by and saw that I was standing in here, and she came in and we chatted. And I'm actually going to invite her to come on. That will be pretty good, actually, because she's super smart. So her thing was, because she's a mature adult, very independent, single woman, and her thing is, like so many people have said, is it should be easy, right? Your life, I got to give her props because she was spot on. Your life should be worthy by itself.
Oh, yeah.
And then if the right person, or when the right person comes along, it's just sort of the icing on the cake. And we, as we were setting up and whatever, we had that conversation, and I totally agree with her, 100%.
Someone should add to your life and give reason to certain things, but I don't believe that they should. And actually, so this is something that, so Courtney, she went to a Bible study group over the weekend.
Nice.
And one of the pastors she talked about, at one point in her life, she found self-worthiness in who she was dating, because who she was dating told her she was beautiful, told her she was amazing, told her she was the greatest at this, the greatest at that. And she started,
which are nice things.
Yeah, she started to believe it. And she put all of her self-worth into that person's opinion of her.
Oh, yeah.
Instead of
no bueno.
Having self-worth in herself and getting that through God. So that was what she was talking about. And it's the same exact thing here. You have to have the self-worth in yourself before you can be worthy. And then also, once you are worthy, because you have a positive self-worth, only then can you be willing.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work any other way. Doesn't work any other way.
Yeah. So I would be curious to know, and if you're watching this, just take a pause, take a moment, write a comment down below. Do you feel worthy of dating? It has been suggested to me that if you were to take 10 women, half of them would say that they don't feel worthy.
I would say more, but I would say a higher percentage of that. But
okay. So I'm interested in people's comments on that. And so as a man, if we were to take 10 men, and I'm going to say 30 to 50.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's a 20-year span. It's a generation span. I'm going to say 7 out of 10 would say that they are worthy. Now, here's the thing that's interesting. Do you think so? Let's say half the women and 70% of the men. Do you think that those percentages are accurate or should be flip-flopped?
Flipped.
I do too.
Yeah.
I totally do.
It's 100% flipped.
I totally do.
Yeah.
What, dude? What the? Why? That is messed up.
Now
is it because of the media? Is it because of what is it?
We're getting into societal issues now.
Yeah.
We're getting into
oh my gosh, we are.
Messaging that comes from magazines, that comes from the news media, that comes from
just your public.
School teachers and
your community.
And girls at school, and guys at school. You're getting that all, and it's creating an environment for those numbers to exist. And I don't think we have time to
Boy, that's a whole other topic.
Yeah, but
boys versus girls starting at, I don't know, let's say 4th or 5th grade up through, let's say 25 years old, and what happens.
Yeah, with how far we are, and I don't think we have time to
diverge, we'll save that one.
But
that's a different topic. Let's peel it back. Another layer. Mm-hmm. Willing versus worthy. Do you believe in unconditional love?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay. Explain it to me.
So the way I would see unconditional love is I might be mad at you, but no matter what, I care about you. Even if we break up and we're separated, I still care about you. I still love you, and I still want you to be successful. I mean no I hope for nothing negative in your life. That's what I see in unconditional love. It's, I love you enough that even if you're not the one, or I'm no longer the person for you, that I still hope for your success. And I still hope that you find someone who does, that type of thing. I think that's what and you did something, you were mean to me. Well, I'm mad at you, but I'll get over it because I still love you.
Is unconditional love a state of mind, a state of a relationship that can be lived in constantly, by your definition?
I think it's the only way for some, like the couples that I would say went for, are 70 years of marriage, 60 years of marriage. There had to be unconditional love in that. Crap happened in that 60 years.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah.
So it had to exist in there. So I think the successful ones, yes.
So the reason I ask about unconditional love is because I feel that unconditional love falls into the column of willing, not worthy. Now look, I'm going to sound a little pessimistic here, and maybe it's just my age, but to me, unconditional love is a real thing. It is not in the worthy column because it is something that it's up to the individual to decide.
Yeah, you're 100% correct.
So it's in the willing. Am I willing to look at this person that I consider to be my forever, my mate, my soulmate? Mm-hmm. And am I willing to love them unconditionally? Now, look, there's a lot of litmus tests on unconditional love. Adultery is one, cheating or whatever, whether it's physical or emotional. Blending families, right? So you take two divorced couples with their own kids and you blend a family in a household. Trust me, unconditional love will be
tested.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, that's an understatement. And I could just go on to one category after another, and I have to say, and I actually said this in my video earlier this week, sort of around this topic, that there's the saying that you can't teach old dogs new tricks,
yeah.
and I think it's bullshit.
Oh, no.
Because I think the older you get, the more adaptable you are because of your experiences, but you choose not to be adaptable. You choose not to be willing. Mm-hmm. And I can tell you, in the context of unconditional love, I'm pessimistic.
I mean,
I'm just being honest. I'm just being honest. I know there's a lot of people listening right now that are like, yeah, that sounds like me.
Yeah.
It's easier. I will say it is easier when you're younger.
Yeah. And
because you got more rubber on your tires.
Yeah.
You got more rubber on your tires,
or you have less to lose. Yeah.
True. True.
We're big Gary Vee fans. Some 16-year-old guy goes up to Gary and says, "What should I do?" He goes, "Do everything for the next 20 years because you can start at 30 and you're going to be fine."
Yeah.
But
right.
But
if a 50-year-old guy or a 60-year-old guy walks up to Gary,
he's going to say, "Dude, get your crap together."
Yeah, he's going to say, "Why are you here?"
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So for those of you out there, I mean,
yeah,
context might not make sense,
yeah.
but
our audience is not a Gary Vee audience, but you and I
yeah.
are a Gary Vee audience.
But essentially what he's saying to the younger person is you're so young that you need to live and have those experiences because that's going to forge your future.
Yeah.
And you're going to figure out who you want to be at a certain age. Whereas if you're in the latter portion of that category and you've already figured that out, you're already, you're molded into something, you're adaptable for only the right thing, like you said. You are hard. It's harder to make you want to. It's not harder for you to adapt because you're still adaptable, but it's harder to find the thing that you're wanting to be adapted to.
Yeah.
It's way easier for me to say, "Oh yeah, let's just move somewhere," or "Hey, why don't we, buy a new house? Well, we don't like this one." It's easier at a younger age to be like, "Oh yeah, let's try that. Let's try this. Let's do this. Yeah. It's easier to say yes. But when you're 50, you've got 4 kids, you're on your 3rd marriage, someone walks up to you and says, "Hey, you want to move in with me into California and start a new life? We'll get all 10 of our children together." Maybe 20-year-old version of you would say yes to that because it's a new experience, but 50-year-old you says, I've seen that before. Let's not do that.
Right.
So, like you said, it is not that you are not or no longer adaptable. It's that finding something that's worthy of you adapting to or that you want to adapt to is far harder.
Well, and that goes back to my point, this little meme here that is, I'm convinced that different people awake different beasts in you. Mm-hmm. You know what? I'm going to detour.
Sure.
more of a segue. I'm a huge believer in raw chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a huge believer that if it's your person, you know what? I'm even going to go a step further, and I've used this analogy before. Let's pretend, boy, this is a reach. This is going to be hard for people to grasp. This is just me and my my weird universe. Pretend that you are in a Chief Stadium, Kansas City, Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
What 80 seats, 80,000 people, and you take. Okay, I'm just gonna be like really, really specific here. You take me, and you put me right in the center of the field on the 50-yard line, and you take 100 women, and you scatter them.
Mm-hmm.
Turn the lights off. Pitch black.
Mm-hmm.
And blindfold me. I will go find the right one. That is an unexplainable raw chemistry.
So there used to be a show that I think is a funnier version of that analogy. And they used to blindfold a guy and have like 30 women kiss him. And then he goes, and he has to tell you who his girlfriend was. First of all, whoever was willing to do that, ugh. But at the same time,
Actually, it sounds really fun.
But like, I'm saying, like, if you're dating someone,
sure,
and
right.
they're like, oh yeah, just go kiss 29 other women, I'm fine with that. Okay, different strokes for different folks,
right?
But
exactly.
What I have to say is, if there is raw chemistry, they'll figure it out.
Yeah, they will.
Like, they'll know.
Absolutely.
They'll know the second they even get close to them.
So here's my point. We both made a great, right, analogy there, and here's my point to both of those examples. Different people will bring out a different beast in you. And when it's the right one, when it's the right chemistry, you will be willing to adapt virtually under any circumstances. And you won't even know that you're doing it.
Yeah. Guilty.
Yeah.
On my end. I know.
And I don't know, man. That's really all I have to say about that. Let me give you an example. And I can't be specific because I have to protect the living. Mm-hmm. In my lifetime, right? And I'm the guy that's been on 51st dates.
Yeah.
Right. More than that, but in, recent. In my lifetime, I have felt that type of chemistry 3 times. One was when I was a teenager. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if that one counts or not. Comparing that one to the 2 that happened as an adult, I can tell you it does count.
Yeah.
And
okay, go ahead.
And yet here I sit single.
So here's my question.
And not dating anyone. So, I'm currently not in a active relationship with one person.
So I guess, is there one? Is there one that is made for you?
No. There's more than one. God wouldn't do that to people. Oh, that's a whole other topic.
Well, no,
Woo, that onion's got many layers.
well, the reason I ask, because maybe raw chemistry could be a mask, or a I'm losing for word. I'm at a loss for words.
I'm feeling you.
But it might be, fake, not fake.
Mask. You're right. It can raw chemistry if you are a person that is, you feel that you're worthy, you feel that you're willing. Can it mask itself? Can it parade itself falsely? And the answer is absolutely yes.
Yes. Well,
absolutely yes.
So, for example, I guess this is my question is maybe 3 raw chemistries, and this might get a little too deep, but 3 out of 3 raw chemistries were fake, and the 4th one is real. I don't know.
Well,
I'm
okay.
asking as a interested person, not as a this is what I actually think in your life. But
all right.
But I think
I'm going to answer.
It's worth thinking about and asking the audience to think about that. I think the audience needs to kind of consider that as a raw chemistry, because a lot of times raw chemistry ends up not in relationship, it ends up in fling category.
Okay. So I am going to answer it specifically. 2 of those 3 were significant relationships.
Mm-hmm.
One of them was not a relationship whatsoever, and not by my choosing. Now, let me really... this will blow your mind.
Okay.
Ooh. And I just now thought of this. Out of those 3, all 3 of them had the same hair color. 2 of the 3 had the same eye color, and all 3 had the same body shape. Weird. I literally just thought about that for the first time in my life right now.
Could it be?
And, well, hold on. One more thing. And all 3 of them had... 2 of the 3 of them had similar personalities. And none of the 3 of them have anything in common professionally. Or
that's not something you tend to value.
Financial, right? For me, it's not a value. So okay, thanks for pointing that out, because it's not a value. It's not a value for me.
So here's my question.
It's not a criteria.
Yeah. So here's my question. Could it be that hair color, that body type, that all that is, yes, there was raw chemistry between the 2 of you, but could it be, I don't want to say fake, I hate using that term. A mask.
No, I'm listening.
The reality that behind that mask is where the adaptation needed to occur, and it didn't.
My own bias. So
my point is that because this is my personal thing. I believe there is one out there for you, but some may never meet them. Some may meet them and let them go. Some may never seize on the sorry, just that there's a lot there.
No, I'm with you.
But here's my point is that because you are right. For the right one, you will adapt, and
Yeah.
you will show your worthiness. You will be willing to adapt, and it's only when you see past that facade, that mask that we're talking about, that the willingness to adapt, when you see the person for who they really are, when you see the real person.
I feel like I should be paying you for therapy tonight.
Yeah,
You're
to
on
do
the
that to
clock
people.
times 2.
Yeah, I tend to do that to people.
Now, so here, listen to this. Let me really bake your noodle. One of those 3 exited my life, but not forever. I think. I suspect.
That happens a lot. People, boom, they rebound, they go back.
Right, it's a ricochet.
Yeah, and then you find them again and stuff like that. I mean, for example, someone I know very well dated someone for like 8 years. They took 2 or 3 years off, started dating again, and they're probably going to get married.
Funny how that works.
So, but my point is that beware that raw chemistry, that you see that as a sign for long-term relationship.
Yeah, now that I agree with.
So it's a, like I said, it's a facade.
Yeah.
It's a mask, and then the real person's behind it. And I think that the raw chemistry of the bright person, you will begin to, you will take that raw chemistry with you forever. However, when the reality sets in, when the real person shows up, when you're living with them and you see how they
snore.
Exactly. Or when you live with them and you see how they brush their teeth. I mean, or you see how they cook their eggs, and you're like,
or when they don't flush the toilet.
like things like that. Then then the adaptation begins, where you accept and adapt to that person. And I believe that there's only one person out there that you're willing to do that for. Personal opinion, but
no, I like, dude, I respect it.
I think other people should disagree with me on that, because I don't pretend to be a know-it-all, but what I have to say is that's
well, okay. So, and I don't want to belabor this to death.
Yeah.
So let's say hypothetically that one person for me is one of the 3 people, or maybe to your point, that fourth one is lingering out there. What if I decide I'm done in America, and I'm going to move to India?
Yeah.
Or Japan.
The internet's still a thing. This is not the 1800s when they needed to hitch up the wagons and get on the Titanic to come across the ocean.
But if I don't feel that my forever, my soulmate is going to be found geographically in a different country, other than so I'll be specific. I believe that my forever after is in the Midwest.
Okay.
I don't believe that it is
Florida, California, New York.
Well, okay, so here's something funny. One of those 3 is Florida.
Okay. Well,
never say never, but I don't think it's Moscow.
Yeah.
So if I move to Moscow, do I just basically chalk my life up as, yep, this is me, I'm single forever, and if I can, have a girlfriend here and there or whatever, then great, until it blows up?
Well, So I don't want to get all.
Tell me, Dr. Phil.
Well, I don't want to get.
What
all,
do I do, Dr. Ian?
Well, I don't want to. I don't want to get all
Hallmark card.
Yeah. Well, no Hallmark.
Hallmark television or whatever.
Yeah. The shows
yeah.
where it's all the same plot, but whatever.
Right.
But I'm saying like, maybe you move to Moscow, okay, and then something happens back home, and then it draws you home because you need to spend time with a family member, and then you happen to go out to a bar that night and that person happens to be there.
The ricochet.
Yeah. Hallmark movie plots. But my point is that let's say you did move to Moscow. There is no reason why you wouldn't be back. Or there is always the
I hate it when you're right.
And
that's exactly the type of thing that would happen to me too.
Exactly. So I think people, I guess here's the take. Let's leave it with the takeaway and then let's just
takeaway.
So there's steps. Willing comes after worthy. And worthy
it's the chicken and the egg, isn't it?
And no, it's not. There literally one comes before the other. There is no other way, in my opinion. Worthy.
I believe willing does matter more than worthy.
I do too.
I agree.
But what I'm saying is that in order to become successfully willing, one must become worthy. And the worthiness comes from within. It comes from finding the inner you that makes you happy and makes you the person that you want to be in life. At that point, you can become willing. Because so I cannot share all of me if I'm not all of me. I cannot share who I am unless I have become who I want to be. Same thing in this category. Most people they come out worthy. They come out willing when they haven't done the worthy part. They haven't worked to become that. So I believe that there's a step in the process. And once you become that willing party in the right order, you're going to have so much success. You're going to love dating at that point. But the people who are out for a quick fix, who are out to create worth through their willingness.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to...
I think I'm just going to let you
you're gonna have issues.
End the episode today. Just take it away, man. You're I have nothing to contribute here today. No, it's dead on, man.
But to everyone out there, I became Dr.
Dude,
Phil
I was nowhere near your maturity level when I was your age. No, I was smart. I had a good job. I was making money, and I was doing the right things. But I just didn't have your insight.
I was the only child in two sides of a family until I believe I was 13 or 14. I grew up around adults. Like I
get that.
Like
about
I was
you.
only allowed to be mature because that's the only people that were in my inner circle.
Yeah.
The like going and jumping off of cliffs and dirt bikes and crap like that didn't happen. I didn't have anyone to do it with.
I did.
So all I had time to do was sit around and learn from like older people.
Yeah.
So all I'm saying is that's kind of where I believe it came from.
Yeah. No, I get that.
Whatever's positive or negative, but
well, so
let's call it a day.
Let's call it a day, man.